Welcome to Supply Chain Now, the voice of global supply chain. Supply Chain Now focuses on the best in the business for our worldwide audience, the people, the technologies, the best practices, and today's critical issues, the challenges and opportunities. Stay tuned to hear from those making global business happen right here on Supply Chain Now.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Scott Luton here with you on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's episode. On today's episode, we're welcoming a couple of dear friends, fellow founders, repeat guests to the show. With the explosion of supply chain startups, including some folks maybe listening to us right now, we're going to be gleaning critical insights from our guests' entrepreneurial journey. So with that said, I want to welcome in Stacey Pierce and Jules Weldon with OME Gear, creators of the ever more popular The Wanderr. Stacey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks, Scott.
And Jules, how are you doing?
Doing good. I'm fighting a little bit of the crud that's going around, but other than that, I'm doing great. And I appreciate that introduction, the ever popular, or like you said, ever more
popular, I think. But hey, I'm not. I've been, of course, I was delighted to check back in kind of directly when y'all appeared with us last time in that episode we published last April. But I'm a fan. I've got a Wanderr tattoo on my right shoulder, believe it or not. And it's true. Y'all been taking over the markets by storm. So, but with all that said, Jules, may you fight the good fight in your battle against, I think everybody, all kinds of stuff is going around. So may you continue to feel better and better.
Thank you so much. Nothing little drugs can't help.
I'm keeping her drugged up. It's good.
That's right.
That is great. That's the only way to be as you fight all these stuff out here. So let's talk about, I want to start with a fun warm-up question. So, we're recording this episode in the weeks or so before Christmas and all the other holidays, and we'll be publishing it probably the first of the year. But it's holiday movie season, right? Now, as I shared with y'all pre-show, our family's number one, probably far and away, is Christmas Vacation. And it's not a close second, but Home Alone or Home Alone 2 is probably number two. So I want to ask you both, what is your all-time favorite holiday movie? And Jules, let's start with you.
I'm going to say Elf. I'm going to say it's kind of a tradition for Stacey and I to watch it every year. It's become a tradition. And it just always makes me laugh. So I'm going to go with Elf.
It is such a good movie. That is Will Ferrell that's a perfect role. I'm a big fan too.
It really is, yeah.
All right, Stace.
I mean, Elf is hands down. But I mean, with the close second of Christmas Vacation.
You love movies, though, don't you?
I love Christmas movies.
But you love cheesy Christmas movies.
I do. I like cheesy ones.
Wait, no, you don't. I'm trying to set you up. You hate, we've been trying to watch Christmas movies, and she.
Oh, no. I don't like romantic Christmas movies.
Oh.
I like, what do you call it? Comedy Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Like anything with Tim Allen or, anything like that. But these Hallmark, first of all, it doesn't snow in the South, people. And so it's like I'm in a southern town Hallmark movie. It's dumb to me. I do not like romantic Christmas movies.
Well, you know what? We get plenty of drama in our homes during the holidays. Let's stick with comedy with our movies, right?
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate y'all indulging us. Big fans of Elf as well. Let's level set a bit. I mentioned the Wanderr on the front end, of course, your company, OME Gear. Let's level set, and I think we're going to be showing in the published video version of this podcast, we'll be showing some images so our listeners and our viewers will see exactly what we're talking about with this product that's really been popular in the last few years. So tell us, what is the Wanderr?
So the Wanderr is a transformable unit for the outdoors. And so it starts as a cart. It can haul your kayaks, paddleboards, and surfboards, but it can hold that heavy cooler and all your gear up to 150 pounds. And then once you get to where you're going, it transforms into a high camping chair, a lower to the ground beach type chair, a lounge chair, and then a camping cot. And so it's a multiple use product. So it's just not one thing. So you can kind of get rid of a bunch of things and have one thing, and it'll carry everything else you need, and you're good to go.
I love it. And listeners, you can kind of hear the backstory of how it was developed and some family ties there in episode 885. No, 885. Yeah, it doesn't sound right. 885 was of Supply Chain Now, which we published in April 2022. We'll have a link in the episode notes. So, Jules, what would you add? That was a very well-crafted explainer there, Stace. Jules, what would you add about the Wanderr?
They say when you do something 10,000 times, you become an expert of it. And so she's probably done that introduction of the Wanderr 10,000 times. But the only other thing I would add is that A, it's really high quality. And then B, the wheels. So the wheels we've done 12 years of research on wheels that are out there, which not many people can say. But we've done 12 years of research trying to find a wheel that actually rolls on any terrain, including soft sand. So if you look at the wagons and the carts, and all of them will say these roll on soft sand, and they really don't. I mean, you watch people on the beach trying to pull, the wagons and that sort of thing, and they really don't. But this really does, because it's an outer layer of santoprene rubber on an inner plastic shell. And so the santoprene squishes down, giving you a bigger surface area to go over the sand. And so the wheels really are game changers for us. So that would be the only thing I'd add. But and a lot of people think, well, I don't live near a beach, so it's not good for me. Well, it's actually great for any time you have to haul stuff. So think like kids' sporting events outside, or tailgating, or camping, or even equestrian. We've had a lot of equestrian folks say, hey, this would be perfect. A guy bought it for his job site for construction, because you can put it in hauler mode and haul, a bunch of big, heavy stuff. And so it's really good for any time you have to haul stuff, and then have seating options once you get there.
I'll say this one guy, we were at a festival and we sold out. And so we had just our demo units, and we sold all of our demo units. And this guy walks up and he goes, do you have any at your RV? And we're like, we have an old one. We have beat it up. And he goes, I want to buy it. I'll give you $100 for it. Now this thing it was still, I think, a prototype. And he goes, I'll give you $100 for it. And so we brought it, and he gave us $100 for it. He was going to mine gold with it. So he took all of his mining stuff down to the gold mine, wherever he would go mine. And he came back the year later. He goes, I still use that mine gold.
100,000 miles on it later, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly. So, anyway.
So it really can do, it's like the Swiss Army knife, it sounds like. I love all the different examples. And going back to how, Jules, how you were talking about the kind of development of the wheels, that is, I think, for a lot of our maybe listeners that are in product development, right? And even continuous improvement, and for that matter, procurement and sourcing, I bet a lot of the folks can relate to that. And it really, as you described that, and my mind races, I've got a 7-second attention span, I think, like a goldfish. But me and my family watched a documentary on Amazon about the Opportunity Rover, right? And a lot of what you described as you and your team has really doubled down in really making the best Wanderr ever, and all the different components go into that. It really reminded me of this great documentary focused on opportunity, because that rover, all the different, once that thing was launched, there was no tweaking it. There was no going back. And if I'm not mistaken, that rover was supposed to last like 90 days, and it went 15 years. So talk about the value of really investing in that product development phase, which clearly y'all value and have made it ready for the best. You say hauler mode? With 2 R's. With 2 R's, like Wanderr, which has 2 R's. So it sounds like maybe I could stick my 3 kids back there and take them to the beach and back, maybe, huh?
I think so. Well, we can't recommend that. You could, but we can't recommend that.
Okay. It's like riding in pickup trucks back in the 80s in Aiken County, Stacey. No one can recommend that, but we did it all the time, right?
Exactly.
All right. So let's do this. So now that everyone has a good fundamental understanding of the product and what it is, and hopefully for anyone that's been viewing this conversation, you've seen it. Let's talk about, since your last appearance, and that was April. Man, where has time gone? Y'all have been busy. You've had a lot of hits, a lot of wins, a lot of successes. I think y'all have gotten the Wanderr in a variety of retail retailers, which is outstanding. More access for folks that need a solution like the Wanderr. So give us some highlights. And if you're open, I think one of the things I love about y'all's approach to your community you've been building is, man, how transparent and just open you are with the entrepreneurial journey, the good days and the bad days. So give us a few highlights of what has transpired since last time you were with us.
I think we were still in California. For the listeners that don't know, we sold everything we owned for our company in December of 2020. And so in 2021, we hit the road May 1st. We hit the road in an RV because they say you can't sell freight sitting on your rear end. So we were like, let's get on the road. And so we wrapped our RV in our branding. We put QR codes, which was a game changer for us, because anytime we would travel down the road all the way to California and all the way back, our website would shoot up 200-300% from the QR codes that were on the RV. So, we were I think we were in California when we did the original podcast. So we've made it back to the East Coast, which is,
safely, which is a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge.
Well, let me ask y'all, because who does most of the driving? Who's the better driver?
Who does all the driving? Jules.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I do all of it.
So is that by design? Is Jules just a safer driver?
I wouldn't say she's safer. She's more aggressive. She's from Philadelphia area, so I am not. I don't care about driving. Period. Not even a car. I might enjoy an e-bike, but as far as even a car, I just don't really. I've never been that person to care about driving. So I did take driving lessons in hopes that I would drive, but I just haven't. I have not mustered up the courage. She's more of a risk taker than I am.
So we made a deal in the beginning that if I drove, because she had great aspirations, but then was like, yeah, no, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to drive this thing. It's scary. I mean, it's really scary. I
believe it.
But she said, if I take care of the outside, the poop chute, will you drive? And I was like, fair.
Done.
Fair deal. Yeah. So she messed up one time with the poop chute, and that's all you have to do is mess up once. You never mess up.
Folks, I told y'all it's going to be open and transparent with these two. It's one of the best things about these conversations. All right. So, Stacey, you were describing the drive back to the East Coast, and Jules with the Philly grittiness and driving approach. She's the designated driver. So talk us about your migration back to the East Coast.
It was uneventful. But I have to say, if people have not taken time, I know people want to go to Europe or want to go, wherever, to the Bahamas or whatever. If you have not taken time to drive the United States, it is a must in your lifetime. We've only done the southern part in our in the RV. Our hopes are to do the northern part at some point. I know we've driven it in our car, but if you haven't had an opportunity, you have to go and see the United States. It is unreal what the topography and the changes and just the different cultures that we have right here in our own homeland. That is absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we made it back to the East Coast, and where Olive is her name, and she's safe and sound, and
that's the RV. That's the name of the RV.
That's the name of the RV, and we're safe and sound. But we as two 50-year-old women, that was never our dreams, and this can go into one is as entrepreneurs, we give up a lot. We give up, and one thing is sleep. But in this situation, we've given up our home, and we're traveling to start our company, to get our company noticed, to build our brand. Right. And so as two 50-year-old women in a 250 square foot home traveling, we've done it. Luckily we like each other. And it has been one of the most amazing journeys that we never scripted. This was never scripted for us. This is not what we were like, oh, this is on our bucket list to go and live in an RV.
It was probably scripted. We just didn't know the script.
Right. We didn't know.
Right. Right.
And so we're like, okay, let's do this. But So to me, as entrepreneurs, Jules, look, I'll never forget the day, but she looked at me and she said, "How much do you believe in this?" And I said, 100%. And she said, "All we have left is our home." And I was like, "All right, it's going on the market." So we threw some paint on it and sold it. And so as entrepreneurs, that's what you have to do. You have to get down, you have to get dirty, and it's not easy.
Right.
It has not been easy for us. But
so that's the true definition. I know all in's become a cliche right out there, but man, when you're talking about that situation, that level of commitment and putting everything in because you believe the journey that you're on and what you're building, that truly is all in. So to our listeners, what Stacey was alluding to, and what we're going to be learning from both Stace and Jules, is 5 things that potential founders, entrepreneurs, startups have got to know. And so, Stace, if you had to kind of put that first one in a sentence or a phrase that you just described, what would that be?
Jules, you might have to jump in and help me.
You better be all in, or just stop there.
Well, the ones who are all in are the ones who realize their dreams, right? And so in one sense, I'm actually thankful that the majority of people don't go all in, because it makes us, because we are committed to that, it makes us be able to rise to the top and get where we want to go. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of our competitors, they just won't do that. You know, they're just not that committed, and that's okay. But for us, we're all in. So those who are all in will realize their dreams. Yeah. There's nothing that will stop you. If you're all in, you will realize your dreams. It's just a matter of how bad do you want it.
So listeners, take heart. Listen to that, right? If you're going to really go after it and be all in, you can achieve just like Jules and Stace is doing. And, I would just add to that on those really tough days and on the great days, we as founders made the decision to take this journey. Mm-hmm. And so when I have that maybe that quick thought of, man, why does this have to happen? No, Scott, we signed up for this. This goes with the territory, and we got to power through it. Amanda, my wife and my partner here, we talk about that all the time. Mm-hmm. So what a great starting point. So moving from number 1 to number 2 on our list, what would that be?
I think the second, maybe these aren't going to be in order of priority, and we could prioritize those later. But a second thing is the relationships that you build along the way are everything. For us, a product will come and go, a company will come and go. And if it's the trendy thing, then you'll sell a bunch of them, but the relationships that you genuinely build will last your entire lifetime. Right. Mm. And so for Stace and I, we have committed, and thankfully we both value this highly. We have committed to making OME Gear be about relationships. And I know that also is trite, kind of along with the all-in thing. But when you live it out, the reality of that is something that's more dynamic than you could ever imagine. And so for us, investing in relationships early and often and genuinely, our motto is, I don't know if you can see this, we have a tattoo, but it's out love, out give. And when we first got together, that became our motto of out love, out give. And it's not that it's a competition. It's I want somebody who's in my presence to feel so loved and so given to, and we both do, that it just kind of became the motto of our company as well. And so that would be a second thing, is genuinely give of your time, your resources, your energy, your money to other people without expecting a return. And that's the most important thing, because a lot of people will give and then expect something back. But when you don't expect something back, it comes back tenfold. So it's actually way better when you don't have expectations. So that would be the second thing.
And I like that. Jules has done such a great job on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn and follow Jules, I let her be the voice on LinkedIn. She does so much better than me. And she's very diligent about posting every day and posting with value. But the relationships that we have built out of her on being on LinkedIn are invaluable to us. I mean, they have opened us up where if we need anything, and somebody said to me one time, they're like, you have a lot of friends. And I said, I do, because you have to be a friend to have a friend. And if we need anything, the smallest thing or the biggest thing, we can put it out on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever. And we have built the relationships that somebody can help us, or if they can't, they know somebody that can. And so, and we're like, we need help, but it's about building relationships. And we would do the same thing for other people. If somebody came up to Jules and said, hey, can you post something on LinkedIn? I need your help with something. Jules was like, absolutely. And I mean, it's not something that we need help with, but we know that somebody's going to be able to help because the person needs it. And so it is about building relationships and building your network of people is just so invaluable to life in general. So
we could talk for probably 10 hours on this number 2 topic on the list here. But killing with kindness is one of the themes I'm picking up here. But secondly, I want to ask y'all a question. I can't remember if this came up in our last conversation or not, but one of the great things about being an entrepreneur and owning your own business is you get to pick and choose who you do business with, right? And I don't know about y'all, but as I've learned, there's all sorts of folks out there that do business all sorts of different ways. And I think it was Oprah that said, when folks show you who they are, believe them, right?
That's right.
And run away. In some cases, run away. And of course, there's plenty of folks, as y'all are alluding to in this journey, that, man, they make the journey that much better, right? They do things the right way with values and ethics, and they're pouring themselves into the relationship, much like we are. But man, you got to. Someone also said, I think it was. Well, I stole this from Ray Attia, and I'm not sure if Ray Attia stole it from someone else, but you can have a bad deal with good people, but you can never have a good deal with bad people, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So quick comment, and we're going to move to number 3 in just a second. But one of y'all, any comments on choosing those relationships, whether they're business or personal, or and avoiding the negative juju out there, maybe?
Oh man, Scott, we have been. I mean, we could spend hours talking about this. We have been burnt so bad by people that we trusted. And it's cost us a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. Because I think that with that whole relationship thing, Stacey and I give people the benefit of the doubt and probably too long. And we trust people too hard, too quickly, right? And I mean, we've just gotten burnt. I mean, we're in the middle of, legal stuff right now with somebody. And I mean, it's hard. It is hard because when you do trust people, and this was going to be one of my things with entrepreneurs. So it's kind of leading into
number 3, right? Okay.
Yeah. And I've done recent posts about this on LinkedIn, but when you do find good people, keep them really close because they're hard to find, unfortunately. And when you start to see, I go by that thing that you said all the time. When someone shows you who they are, believe them, right? Because salespeople can tell you all day long who they are and whatever. And then the reality is when you get access to their email inbox and you see what they haven't been doing, and so for us, it's really real. It's really recent that we do trust people to be a part of our team or our partners or our vendors or whatever. And then we get burnt really bad. But on the flip side, we have a team.
And thank the good Lord for the flip side, right?
There's zero benefit in spending good energy after bad. There's zero. And so for us, our team that we have assembled would literally be in the fox trenches with us, the foxhole with us. I mean, they have gone to bat. They have not taken a salary. They have, worked till, the cows come home for us. I mean, and with us. And good people you keep really closely. And then they're the ones that will benefit with us on the back end. Yeah. I promise you that. And you can put this in writing, but those are the ones who will benefit with us because we couldn't do it without them.
Yeah. I mean, and I think what she's alluding to is we try to surround ourselves with people that have the same values as we do. And you have to pay attention to this. And if you go back to April's episode, we talked about giving someone 6 months to show they're crazy, or you have to hire slow, fire fast. I mean, we've all heard it as entrepreneurs, but we as entrepreneurs are trusting that these people are real and they're telling us what they're going to do. And of course, as entrepreneurs, we're disappointed when it doesn't happen. But if you go back and look back, there's those yellow flags, there's those red flags, and we choose to ignore them. And I think a muscle that Jules and I are learning to flex and build is don't ignore those yellow flags. Don't ignore those red flags. You see them, and we saw them all along. And like Jules said, when you get into somebody's inbox, then you see, okay, that yellow flag was actually a red flag. But so it's really paying attention to your own values as an entrepreneur and surrounding yourself with the people that have those same values. I think is hugely important as you're building a company, because, we haven't had the funding to pay full salaries. That's, and so we need people that are going to get in the trenches with us and realize that they are going to benefit as we grow the company. And so that's a red flag in itself. If somebody doesn't want to get in the trenches with you, they don't need to be a part of your team right now. And then once that door closes, it's amazing what happens on the other side of that door once you close that door. Mm-hmm. I mean, our world has opened up in the past 3 weeks to amazing people that we want to surround ourselves with. Mm-hmm.
So before we move to number 4, one of the things I think we talked about last episode, and we've talked certainly on a lot of shows in the last couple of years, you mentioned funding, and we've got a ways to go to really create opportunities for all when it comes to startup funding. Jules, Stacey, y'all want to mention, because there's some statistics out there I think we talked about last time. Anything you want to mention in that regard?
I mean, yeah, that leads me into my number 4, honestly.
Okay. This was unplanned, folks. This was unplanned. This is we're vibing, folks.
Yeah. Cash, in our case, is queen, right? I mean, cash is king. You've heard that before. But having access to capital has propelled us forward, and it has shut us down in all regards, in a lot of regards, where we have been on pause at different points when we have $1.60 in our bank account. And that's not a joke. I have a screenshot of that. And the absence of cash will create more stress in your life than almost anything else in business. Stace and I have been on our knees begging God to show up, and he always has, but it's always been in the last 30 seconds of the fourth quarter of the game where we feel like we are losing, right? But then we throw, or a Hail Mary gets thrown and it gets caught, and we have life to keep going, right? And so cash is everything. Funding is everything. Like you kind of alluded to, there are statistics out there that 2.7 of all funding, 2.7% goes to women. 1.7 of that goes to women in tech, which leaves 1% of all funding to go to people like us. And that includes women who are founders of food products or apparel or whatever. We're in a huge minority that are women founders of a complex outdoor gear product. But we love that. That's our superpower, right? We kind of take people off guard. But when we've told people that, and we've changed our mentality on that, I think since you and we have talked, is we've said that to people, and they said, you need to change your kind of your conversation. There is money to be had when you talk to the right people. Mm-hmm. You've just talked to the wrong people. And so we now are talking to the right person and are at any moment, literally any moment, going to close a big round of funding that will be a game changer for us. Mm-hmm. And this person is the right person. He believes in us, and it will literally be a game changer. And so cash is queen, right? And it's everything. When you don't have it, it paralyzes you, and it freezes you. But when you do have it, the world opens up.
Mm. So, Stacey, what else would you add before I ask a question, follow-up question too?
I'm sitting here actually getting chills because Jules is right. Someone did say, it was actually a woman who told us that we needed to change our perspective on that. And you can change your, are you eating surf and turf? Are you eating Vienna sausages and sardines? It's how it's in your perspective. And so it was a woman who told us that, and we have taken that to heart. And I think that's when our world opened up, where we started having the right conversations with the right person. And we're just super excited about, the opportunities that's going to open up to us here in the next, hopefully in the next day or so.
Man, I got fingers and toes crossed. That is so exciting. And can't wait to celebrate that news and what it means for the business and the journey y'all have been on and have poured everything into. Let me ask a question. Would you say, and I love how we learn, we all have eureka moments, right? The longest held beliefs, the longest held assumptions that you would hang your hat on, and then you have the right conversation at the right time. Man, I've been thinking about that the wrong way. Would y'all argue that while there needs to be more funding for everyone out there, all the entrepreneurs, regardless kind of like what walk of life you come from, but also there needs to be a greater emphasis on bridging access to the right conversations? It's kind of both. It's more money, right? To be frank about it, but also it's more connectors and more enablers that allow the right conversations to be had. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. One of the things in a post that I did recently on LinkedIn is when you make a promise to make an introduction to an entrepreneur, when you promise an entrepreneur that you're going to make an introduction, follow through with that. Yeah. Because entrepreneurs are so hungry for and needing those connections, right, to expand their sphere of influence. And we've had so many promises that haven't been followed through. However, again, flip side, we have had so many that have been followed through. Like we just got introduced to a massive player in Texas, and we have a call today with this person. And it's like, if you have connections and networks that can help somebody in the entrepreneurial space, make them, follow through with them, because you're exactly right. Those connections can be literal game changers for people like us. And in that same vein, people that we know, like we've made so many introductions to people into retail buyers because we know that we have those connections. So let's give those away, right? Mm-hmm. Like let's freely give those away to help another person get into a retail channel that we're in.
Love that. Giving forward really comes to mind there when you're making those incredible, those very valuable, extraordinary connections and introductions for others. Because the buyers, they have a lot of power. Buyers out there across the industry. So any of our buyers listening, appreciate what you do and opportunities that you create in your big decisions. Okay, so I think we've covered 4 things you got to know if you want to be a founder, or you want to create a startup, be an entrepreneur. So that leads us to 5. Number 5, the end of the list. And these are ranked in no particular order, as Jules pointed out. Who wants to lead on number 5?
I have one.
Okay, go ahead. I have another one, but go ahead. You go.
We're going to get a bonus one, maybe. Bonus time.
Okay. You say yours.
Mine is, this is going for the entrepreneur that has a product. Vet your manufacturer. That is so important. We're working on our 4th manufacturer. And I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get some backlash. U.S. made does not mean it's the best. We tried to bring it to the U.S. We are now having to take it somewhere else. It just didn't work out. Our hopes are to bring it back. But for right now, we have to take it back overseas. That was never our hopes, never our dreams, but that's what it is. So vet your manufacturer, make sure that they have created a product in your same vein. So we're an outdoor gear product. Make sure they've done something and they know the product. They know what you want. And ask for referrals. Ask for referrals, and don't just do it from, somebody knows this manufacturer. Like, get referrals from the manufacturer. So I think that is something that we have lost and learned a ton, but lost a lot of money on. It's because we have trusted these manufacturers to do what they say, and that's not the case.
Quick clarifying question, Stacey. When you talk about referrals, you're talking about doing your homework and doing your due diligence on the manufacturers, getting other opinions to kind of vet what they do and how they do it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think, global supply chains exist for a reason, right? Because we can't find anything here, everything we need domestically. So, we see a lot of reshoring going on for a lot of different reasons. It seems like a second wave of reshoring here in the last year and some change. But hey, wherever, there's a variety of boxes y'all have to check as you're building this product, right? Cost, quality, speed, you name it. And that's just some of the things at the top of the list. So we look forward to keeping our finger on the pulse as you continue this journey of making a product that has been resonating and selling more and more to folks that need what it does. So Jules, what would you add? I think I saw y'all chatting for a second there because we may get a bonus one. So we've been touting the top 5 list, but I think you're going to sneak in number 6. Is that right?
Yeah, and it has to do with what Stace just said, but it's kind of the bigger picture. And Stace alluded earlier, if you don't do anything else, do this one. Okay, so this actually is really important. Sit down and write down your values. Your values literally determine everything. So you can see our values on our website, but every single decision that you make need to be run through your values. And if you don't know what you value, you will have a chaotic road. But if you know what you value, then you will hire quickly, you will hire slowly, and you will fire quickly. We've not done that. And when we're not being true to our values, it has cost us so much money and so much time and so much everything. And so when you run every decision, who are your vendors, who are your manufacturers, and if these people adhere to the same values as you do, it will be a much, much smoother road. If they don't, the potholes and the dead ends and all of that you will experience will be significant. And so Stacey and I often will step back, go to the 30,000 foot view, look at our values and go, where are we not adhering to our values in our company right now? And then we'll change things and, retweak and all that. So if you don't do anything else, if you don't listen to anything else, sit down and physically write out the things that you value. And the way that you can tell is find out the things that really bother you. And that's usually connected to something that you value.
That might be a long list for some of our listeners.
It may be, but it can do with business and relationships. And so, and business relationships. But where we have struggled, where our downfall is we do things out of desperation. And that's when we let our values go by the wayside because we need to hire somebody really quickly. We need money really quickly. We need a manufacturer really quickly. And those 3 things, because we hired fast, we trusted that they were telling us the truth. We took money because we needed it. And then we, hired a manufacturer because we needed product. We needed to start production. And every one of them, we did it so quickly that we let our values just, go by the wayside. And we didn't check. We didn't check off the boxes one by one.
Right. That's a powerful six. I don't know if that's 5A, 5B, or number 6, but that is really. I like how you saved the one of the most important ones for last, because we make I think one of the toughest things about this entrepreneurial journey is all the decisions you've got to make, small ones and big ones. It's a constant exercise on making these decisions. And to your point, sometimes you compromise out of necessity because you need something right there in the moment. And y'all's advice is, hey, call timeout. Don't do that. Stick to your values. It may create a longer wait. It may be a little bit more painful in the short term, but in the long run, in the big picture, it's going to pay off very handsomely, right?
Yeah, 100%, Scott. And I would say get really comfortable in the role of problem solver. And that's not, it's kind of in what you were saying, but we resisted for a long time being the chief problem solver, because I was like, it's annoying. Like, why do I always have to solve all the problems, right? But I think once you embrace that and go, you know what? Today's another day to solve problems. And it's our job as the co-founders and co-CEOs of this company to solve it. Nobody else is going to do it. So get really comfortable and build that muscle so strong that you go, okay, what's the problem I get to solve today? Right?
That's what we signed up for.
Yeah, that's what we signed up for. And so you look forward to that rather than resisting it, and it will go a lot smoother for you.
And luckily we run in 2 different lanes. And so our problem solving skills are they mesh together, but they're completely different. Mine is manufacturing a new product, and that's where I get to solve problems and get to see what's going on with the new products. And then Jules is the internal. And so we do run into separate lanes. We don't, and we come together very nicely, but that's our strength. That is another superpower behind us, is that we have that ability to do that.
Scott, we could top 20 things. So for any of your listeners, no, this is really a true offer. Any of your listeners who just want to have a 30-minute conversation with us, where we share sort of the behind the scenes stuff that we may not as much share on the mic, we are more than willing to jump on a call with anybody and help. And if we can help sort of put rocks in a pothole to help somebody not go in that divot so hard, we make ourselves available to any of your listeners.
Love that. And we're going to, folks, and to all of our listeners and viewers, you're going to find out how to connect with Jules and Stace just a minute. And you can also find it in episode notes. There's a reason, as y'all are describing your lanes, there's a reason they put those floats in those Olympic swimming pools when they have those swimming competitions. So all those swimmers that are moving 100 miles per hour can stay in their lane. There's a lot of value there. But Stace, to your point, of course, you've got those natural connection points because you've got very complementary skill sets, and you've got to make joint and aligned decisions. But man, there's a ton of value, and oftentimes, when we stay in your lane and do what you do. Okay, so what a great list and great offer. Listeners, take Jules and Stace up on their offer to connect kind of offline. So as we start to wrap, I got a fun final question for you both. In addition to how folks can connect with you, but hard to believe we're about to flip the calendar and be in 2023. Goodness gracious. I cannot, it blows my mind. It really does. So what is one fearless prediction that both of y'all have? And Stace, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to put you on the spot first. One bold, fearless prediction for next year.
Well, this is kind of a secret. But we're
don't say it here. Don't say it.
I know. What are you going to share?
Do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Is we're going to start working on building a nonprofit organization, and that I won't tell you the name of it anyway. Is to help other entrepreneurs, not necessarily all female, but a lot of female entrepreneurs, avoid the things that we've had to. That we have come up against, our hurdles, and so. That's going to be a big focus in 2023, is to get that up and going, that we can give back, because that's part of our values, is to give back. And if we can give back to a lot of, like I said, it's going to be focused around female entrepreneurs. If we can give back to them through coaching or money and investing in them, however that looks, We want to be the yes people, and instead of, oh, that's a great idea, and then never hear from us again. And so we want to start this foundation that's going to help other fellow female entrepreneurs, avoid the things that we've come up against, but also help them propel them forward.
Love that. Man, you're talking my language there. I can't wait for that launch, and I hope to maybe be able to support that, because there's such a great need out there, right? For that next generation of entrepreneurs that create so much value, not just here in the States, but around the globe, and all that we can teach them from our wins, but especially our losses, right? So that's good. So Jules, I'll tell you what, it's gonna be tough to beat. It's gonna be tough to beat.
Yeah, I can't beat it. This is more surfacey, I think, than that one. But the first thing that came to my mind is, as entrepreneurs with an outdoor gear product, a high-end outdoor gear product, the one place that you want to show up is in REI stores. There's a ton of retailers out there and all of that. The one place you want to show up is in REI, because that's kind of the mecca of outdoor gear, right?
Sure.
You'll see us in REI this year. That's a prediction for 2023, is that we'll be in REI. And we did a pop-up in a Greenville one, and it went great. And at this point, we don't have any connections with REI buyers. So it's not, we're not working on it. But the prediction is that we'll be in REI by the end of 2023.
Y'all set your mind to it.
Prediction out there.
What's that, Jules?
I'm just putting that bold prediction out there.
Well, you got to speak things, as I've learned from my dear colleague, Clay Phillips, you got to speak things in the universe, right? You got to speak it in the universe, and that helps bring it to fruition. So Clay, your ears may be burning right now, but we're speaking that in the universe. Well, it has been a delight and a pleasure and an honor to reconnect with you both. A big fan of what you are doing at OME Gear. How can folks, let's make sure folks know two things. How can they connect with y'all, and also how can they go out and purchase a Wanderr? And Stace?
Yep. So you can find us at omegear.com, or you can follow us on any of the social media handles, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. But we also have a Facebook private group called OME Gear Insiders. And that is a group you have to ask to join. You have to be kind in the group. But you can go in, you be a part of the group, and you can kind of see the behind the scenes. This is just Jules and I. It's just our channel that we go and get on video, or we share like upcoming news before anybody else hears it. So that's kind of in the know group. But you can also go back and see our struggles, because we're very open and honest about things that have gone on. So you can find us at omegear.com, any of the Facebook channels, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, or OME Gear Insiders on Facebook.
And the email that you can share is info@OME Gear. That's easier to remember than our names. We'd be happy to give you our names email, our direct one. But we check that info at OME Gear every day. Like, we're the ones who check it. And so if somebody sent us a message there, we'd get right back to them. So that's the easiest email to share.
Outstanding. So whether you're inquiring about the product, about the company, or if you're looking for maybe that behind the scenes frank conversation where, as Jules put it, going to help put the rocks in the, how do you say it? Rocks in the pothole, so you don't hit that pothole so bad. That's such a great way of putting it. But use that info at omegear.com to reach out. Again, I really appreciate y'all's perspective, your journey, how open and honest and transparent you are about the goods, the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows that all make up everyone's entrepreneurial journey. So big pleasure to talk with Stacey Pierce and Jules Weldon with OME Gear, again, creators of the Wanderr. Thank you, Stacey.
Yep. Thank you, Scott.
And lots of love to the whole Pierce family in Aiken, South Carolina. We talked about that in the last episode. And Jules, thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to always be with you, Scott. Thank you for your support of us. It really, truly means the world. Thank you.
You bet. We're going to keep our fingers crossed, and we'll have you back on as we all celebrate sounds like some really big news in the weeks ahead. Okay, folks, man, what a great episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I have. Be sure to find Supply Chain Now wherever you get your podcast from, including YouTube. and more content. YouTube makes it so easy, right? You can check out our webinars, our live streams, our great episodes like this one, and add your comments there. Give us your take on what you hear. Hey, on behalf of the whole team here at Supply Chain Now, Scott Luton wishing all of our listeners nothing but the best. Hey, do good, give forward, be the change, be like Stacey and Jules, and we'll see you next time right back here at Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for being a part of our Supply Chain Now community. Check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com and make sure you subscribe to Supply Chain Now anywhere you listen to podcasts. And follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Supply Chain Now.